Oh guys, today we're going over console fanboys. This is really the fourth fan base I have gone over. I went through Smash fan base and Dragon Ball fan base and some other fan bases throughout the years. Steven Universe fan base was the other one. I used to be a console fanboy. I used to if you look at some of my older videos, look at the top 10 most PSP game list, or top 10 and compare the top 10 most 360 games with the worst PS3 games. The 360 games are all multiplats, mostly multiplats. The worst PS3 games were all Sony exclusives. I used to be I didn't really consider Nintendo a part of the argument. They didn't really care for them. But I used to be a console fanboy for Xbox, because that's really what my channel was for like 2 years. When the Nintendo Switch came out, I was doing like the worst games of each console. And the Sony one, I would always do game lists of Sony games. And every Sony exclusive came out, I would come out and say how bad it is because it's a Sony exclusive game. Like, let's look at the games that came out since my YouTube I started making videos more regularly. Detroit Become Human, that game, God of War. That other game called The Last of Us. There was also Uncharted 4. There was The Last Guardian that came out as well. I said about how bad that was. Ratchet and Clank. The game, not the movie. The movie completely sucks. It completely sucks donkey balls. That's what the movie is. Then we had Side Chains with the Spider-Man game. But I would complain about Sony exclusives just because they're not on the Xbox and because they're Sony exclusives. And I started doing the same thing with the Nintendo Switch when it came out. Because I didn't want to do a review on Wii U games because I thought they weren't popular enough. So, and then I started going over why the Wii U and 3DS were not good consoles. Because I said Xbox is always better than all of them. I started to get over that. I stopped doing that recently with the console fanboys. I stopped being a part of the console fanboys. Look at some of my older videos. If you look at my channel, I could use PlayStation. You'll see top 10 worst PS4 games. It's all Sony games. Top 10 worst PS3 games. It's all Sony games. Top 10 worst PSP games and PS Vita games, all Sony or anime games. And I would always complain that Sony is the weeb console and make videos why Sony is failing and how Sony is the worst company and how Sony makes garbage products that need to go burn in the fire. I made a video why the PSVR does suck. Virtual reality is so stupid. But I'll go over why Sony is such a horrible company and how they don't make, and how it's they're only popular by Japanese people, and only Japanese people buy them, and etc, etc, etc. But I decided to stop doing that, and I'll probably simply just avoid talking about Sony exclusives altogether, completely avoiding them because I know absolutely nothing about most Sony exclusives. Like, look at the games that were released in 2015. You had The Last Guardian released in 2015, that's for sure. We also had Gran Turismo Sport. Remember that game? Drive Club was actually terrible. Bloodborne. That was one of the earliest videos I made. Why Bloodborne is a garbage game. Same thing with Majora's Mask 3D. Why that game was garbage. My first kind of video was about like Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth Sisters Generation sucks, and that was the first real video. But I would always go over PlayStation 4 exclusives and say how bad they really are, and say how PlayStation exclusives are the worst, absolute worst. Alternate 8086, that was a bad game. Can't forget the bad games. Final Fantasy Phase 3, I went over that one as well. And basically, I probably could make a second channel just for those troll videos, just to make people angry. So basically, a second channel just for these troll videos that I make. all the time. Basically, if I ever want to do that, I can do that, so I can have the original channel the original feel of the channel, with not robbing people of what they originally subscribed for. Was the basically what I was doing. I was making fun of the '90s kids show. That's really what my entire channel was meant to be. It was basically supposed to be like the '90s kids show and Geico Voting Vid and Mario the Plumber. That's the reason why. That's the reason really the original reason to make those channels, because of those channels. I wanted to make things like them and act like a fanboy like they do. I might make another channel just for those alone, and just for the original feel of the videos. The reason why, like the whole Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, the biggest one was Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. People got furious of that one. And of course, I'll still go over indie horror breakouts and how garbage they are. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's, Baldi's Basics, Doki Doki Weeaboo Club. I don't care if Doki Doki Literature Club was made to make fun of anime. Doki Doki Literature Club was made to appease weeaboos. It was made to appease the weeb community and the weeb community only. I don't care what you say trying to defend Doki Doki. I will never like Doki Doki. That game's completely horseshit, and it should be born in hell. Like Baldi's Basics, Bendy, FNAF, Hello Neighbor, and all those other games. Those indie horror breakouts, and add Undertale and Cuphead in there too. But I'm basically saying I'm just ending this whole console fanboy. I might make another channel just for the original video feel of the videos, but probably might convert like one of my older emails and delete all the videos on that and change the name. That's what I might really just do. And that will be a much more easier solution than just making an entirely new channel for no absolute reason, because I don't want to do that, because that's a waste of time. So that's basically it. I'll probably change the SSB Battle channel, because that's a channel I made for a Super Battle. It failed. So I'll make something else out of that channel. I will probably delete the other two channels I made, which I'm not naming them at all. Well, them you can guess by the playlist, but the other two are completely mystery channels. I made two other channels that I kind of abandoned because I want. One of them was a extreme troll channel, and one of them was just politics, and that was all. But I tried to just move that channel's kind of type of content to this channel, because no point in keeping the channel 14 subscribers as it. It was growing slowly, but I just don't want to use that channel anymore. So that's basically it. No, console fanboys, this is part 1. I'll go to part 2 of the absolute worst of console fanboys. But I'm done being a console fanboy, at least on this channel.